Hello, thank you for joining me today on Live with a Purpose. Maybe you've heard this song, "What side are you leaning on? Leaning on the Lord's side. What side are you standing on? Standing on the Lord's side." This is the way that God calls his people to make a decision for him or against him. Sometimes even in the smallest of things, we're making decisions. Whether we actually make a decision or not, our hearts, our souls, our spirit have already made a decision, and God can gauge those hearts. We have this passage today in the Old Testament during the wilderness wanderings, and we have this sort of famous quote that you may have heard: "Who is on the side of the Lord? Who's on the Lord's side?" It sounds good. I want to be on the Lord's side. You would think everyone would want to be on the Lord's side, but that is not the case. Not everyone wants to be on the side of the Lord, on the side that brings blessing. And today in Exodus 32:26, we have this portion of a wider portion in Exodus 32 that says, "Then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, 'Who is on the Lord's side? Come to me.' And all the sons of Levi gathered around him." Well, that sounds innocent enough. It sounds fine. What's the problem? Right? What's the issue? Well, the issue is when you read Exodus 32, Moses was up on the mountain. Joshua was there with him. And the Lord was giving him the 10 Commandments. And the people were restless. They were saying, he's up there too long. He's not coming back. He's probably dead. We don't see anything. We don't hear anything. We don't know what's happening. And they sort of pressure Aaron, Moses' brother, the priest, to fashion for them a golden calf. That is an idol, a god from Egypt, from where they came. God is the one that brought them out of that situation, but they're asking for them to erect that god. Maybe they'll follow him. Maybe he'll help them out and bring them back. You know, you have to put this in perspective. They've been clamoring for 400 years to get out of servitude, out of bondage. And they're only some days, weeks into the wilderness, and they're parked there at Mount Sinai. And God is speaking with them. God is giving them the rules, the instructions, the words. But they're restless. They don't want any of that. They just want to party. They just want to do what they want to do. They don't understand that there is so much blessing in following after the ways of God. They were just already set in their minds as to what they wanted. So Moses says, "Who is on the side of the Lord? Who's on the Lord's side? Come to me." The Levites came to him, and he said, they didn't know what he was going to say. He said, "Okay, now take your swords and go kill your brothers." I mean, that's a serious situation. We don't have that situation today. This was a special situation in the Old Testament because God was right there. God was their God. He was their king. Before people asked for one of their own to rule over them. They didn't want God's government. And they did that. And you would think that people would be rushing towards Moses' side, right? The side of the God, the side of the Lord. But no, some people were defiant. And they're like, "All right, we'll fight. We want our way." There's a song from Frank Sinatra that says by that title, "I did it my way. I did it my way." Yeah. But in the grand scheme of things, was it God's way? Was God glorified? Did you learn something? So you think you had the last laugh here on earth. Now eternity begins. That's forever. It's something to ponder. Sometimes we think we do want to be on the Lord's side. But, you know, we want what we want as well. And that's natural. Except that it may not bring God glory. It may be to our detriment, our falling later on or over time, or it may be steering us in the wrong direction. we'd be wasting time. Months, few years, when you look back, say, what did I do all this time? Just wasted my time. Yeah, I did it my way. And that's exactly the problem. Thank you for joining me today on Live with a Purpose.